What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Sports to the Wire. For those of you who are actually new to the show, I am your host, Rasheed White. My boy, Barrett Burrell, on the other side of the panel, football analyst extraordinaire. Barrett Burrell.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
All right. As everyone can actually see with the title on screen there, L.A. Lakers. Who's to blame for the blunders here, man? And there's a lot of big circle, probably two circles to actually go around, and there's a lot of finger pointing here, and rightfully so. And Barrick actually take us off on this one, baby.
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna put my finger on Rob Pelinka, man. I'm gonna put my finger on Rob Pelinka.
Come on now.
Hold on. I'm gonna put my finger on Rob Pelinka.
It gotta be LeBron, man. He chose
Hold on. You're gonna go with Rob Pelinka. I'm gonna go with Vogel, the coach. And
explain Pelinka, because we can't just go and say, okay, just.
Well, yeah. I'm
what do you think?
Rob Pelinka is the one that did a number of things wrong. All right, you let Howard leave town. You let Rondo leave town without any attempt to re-sign them, knowing that you were going to have to be big moving forward. Look what happened in this series. You replaced him with Harold. You replaced him with Schroeder, who didn't even show up. And Vogel, you were brought in to coach these guys. You were brought in to make adjustments. You were brought in to put these guys in the best position to be successful. Now, I'm going to put those two up there ahead of everything, because at the end of the day, the players have to go play. And the blame has to go everywhere, no doubt about it. But I always like to start from the top leading down. If you had kept Howard, if you had kept Rondo, this series would have been a lot different. You even
JaVale McGee, I mean, who's actually...
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Even in my opinion, would be better than Howard, because at least he can move laterally when he gets switched on to guards, in a sense.
Yeah, but look how Dwight Howard's helping Philly.
Yeah.
Look how Dwight. See what I'm saying? That could have been in L.A.
Yeah.
That could have been in L.A. Look what Rondo was doing. Even if he has lost a step, he still has the ability to run an offense. You were replacing with Schroeder, who scored a combined 5 points in the last 2 games. You can't have that.
I told y'all Lakers fans, did not like the Schroeder signing. One, he's coming into a contract year. So is he going to break plays? And he's looking for a max. He's looking for $100 million. You know, he actually has to.
He ain't getting it. He ain't getting it.
No, he ain't getting it now. He should have took the offer the Lakers actually gave him, in a sense. So, but getting back to Schroeder, I mean. Listen, he averaged for his career. He averages, I think, between 17 or 19 points a game and 3 assists a game. So
that's right.
Getting players involved and directing players and getting them into the best spots where he can actually thrive is not his strong suit. What was wrong with Pelinka in this? Where was LeBron James to actually say something about this by letting Rondo go? And letting all these key pieces go, in a sense, though. So
that's what I want to ask you.
Signed off on this.
That's what I want to ask you. That's what I want to ask you. Exactly. That's what I want to ask you. Do you think LeBron James had a large amount of influence? Because if he did, then Rondo shouldn't have been gone. If he did, then McGee shouldn't have been gone. If he did, then Dwight Howard shouldn't have been gone. So how much power do you think he had?
I mean, Rondo doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care who LeBron James is. He don't care who Anthony Davis is. He's going to get in your face and he's going to hold you accountable. So let's say if LeBron James doesn't get back on defense, Rondo's still going to get in your face and say, hey, come on, LeBron, you got to get back on defense over here, man. You know?
And he should.
And who knows if LeBron, like, from an egotistical thing, he doesn't like that, in a sense, though. The same thing with Anthony Davis. He held Anthony Davis accountable. And say, hey, listen, man, you gotta, try to elevate him, in a sense, though. Try to get him conditioning wise. Try to you gotta actually really kind of drive a nail into him to actually get him to play. Maybe Anthony Davis didn't like that. But I thought last year was the key. Rondo really was the key and them actually winning the chip because he was actually able to take a lot of the ball handling responsibilities off of LeBron James and really make really good pinpoint passes without turning the ball over.
That's correct. That's correct. But then we got to also spread the word about Anthony Davis's durability. We got to also.
Which I've been saying for years, yeah. Which is why I don't, yeah.
I mean, his skill set has always been there. We talked about it before offset. We talked about it prep. His skill set is there, which is probably why some teams will continue to sort him out as time moves on. But his durability, his work ethic off the floor is important.
I should put what's next for the L.A. Lakers. Is the Lakers who to blame, and what's next now? Because I mean, the only person I would really honestly keep on this team is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I mean, he showed up in that last game. Now, I mean, yeah, he hit some tough shots. I mean, LeBron had to kind of get on him and say, "Hey, you got to shoot the ball."
You got to bring these guys. You have to bring LeBron and AD back. You have no choice. You're tied into them. You have to bring these guys back.
I'm talking about the surrounding pieces, though. I mean, Marcus.
Yeah, okay, but that's what you got to do.
He's good, but look, he was actually getting switched on to small guards, and he can't move laterally, which is my whole point. And where was LeBron at? You approved of this? LeBron James, did you actually approved of this?
LeBron's going to have to work on his. Well, listen, LeBron is going to be entering his 20th season next year. You understand that? His 20th season at the age of 38 years old. I'm telling you something. LeBron is one of the best specimens in the NBA, but he's also showing that he is beginning to break down. AD's younger. He should not be breaking down.
In Game 5, giving up on his team, man. What a pussy, man. I mean, he
left.
AD? No, LeBron James. He left 5 minutes ago. He just left. And then in Game 6, he doesn't even shake hands with the opposing team, man.
Well, I listen, it's unprofessional, but you know what? When's the last time LeBron got knocked out in the first round? Never. So I'm quite certain it was a shock to the system. I'm quite certain, he was a little surprised.
We're not like the other media, because I mean, I'm gonna blame the media too. I mean, it's a lot. The media was telling me that this was the best team in the NBA, better than the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, are you serious? You telling me AD's actually better than Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant? No. And then anybody else on that roster, when you compare the Brooklyn roster to the Los Angeles Lakers roster, it wasn't a good roster. I've been saying this for years. Look at the up and downs that the Brooklyn Nets had with all their players in and out of the lineups, and they're number two in the Eastern Conference. They could have pushed.
I'm not.
Despite all the turmoil that went on there.
I'm not going to compare apples and oranges. I know you like to constantly compare Brooklyn to everyone else.
The media did this. The media. Actually gassed. I think they gassed Pelinka's head up. This is the best team, and yeah, they're really good defensively. They in the beginning of the season. Yeah, I mean, listen. You can play good. A lot of teams lay back in a sense, though. They're not going to really. Really go hard in a sense for the first 25 games. A lot of teams, especially with this condensed schedule, in a sense, though. So yeah, they look good defensively, but now what happened to that in the playoffs right now? They're supposed to be really, really good defensively here.
Listen, the bottom line is they broke down. They were not the most. I kept saying 1,000 times. I said 1,000 times, not literally, but figuratively. I said this team is healthy. They have a strong shot to go to the finals. I said that. They didn't say they were going to beat Brooklyn. I said they were going to go to the finals.
Not you, Barry. I'm talking about.
No. I want to make sure we clear here.
We know that. We said it here. No, we said it here. Okay? I said. Right. I mean, in the very beginning, this is not a good team. This is not a good roster. Wesley Matthews. I mean, did you ever? What did he ever do? In a sense, though.
No, he was a good wingman. He was a good you made a living doing that. Guys make different livings in the NBA. Certain players, not all of them are superstars.
All right. So another thing that they to blame, they lost the buyout market. LeBron James, what happened? Kevin Garnett. Now let's say barring LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't retire. Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, made one phone call and got LaMarcus Aldridge over there. Got Blake Griffin. You got Andre Drummond, who you can't even play in the game. Two factors. Andre Drummond.
Well,
Takes up a lot of space. Takes up a lot of space in the lane, preventing driving Anthony Davis and LeBron from driving. Secondly, he will get switched on to smaller guards, or let's say a big that can actually shoot from the perimeter, and he can't get out there. So that's what you got.
But that's Rob Pelinka. That's why I started with Rob Pelinka. Now you know why I did that. Because this is what you had to come back with, knowing that Dwight Howard is gone, knowing that McGee is gone, okay, knowing that Rondo's gone. So I have to come back with Schroeder, and that's not good enough. Then I have to make some kind of a deal during the trading deadline. So I had to go get Drummond. Listen, as a GM,
not the trade.
But you have to come back and make a decision and do something that is feasible to please the fan base, to give the other players
what I'm saying is I know the onus could be on Rob Pelinka, but LeBron has to, like Kevin Durant did, made that phone call to Blake Griffin and to LaMarcus Aldridge. He had to make a phone call to his peers and say, hey, come on over here, man, and they lost him to Brooklyn. So that's on Pelinka and LeBron right there.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is you can call all you want. At the end of the day, the GM and the owner have to sign off on it. Period and point blank.
No, they're getting them cheap. I mean, they already have, $1 million contracts already. You're getting them for basically vet minimums. So these are veterans that supposedly can actually help you, and you lost the buyout market. So let's see, where else? I mean, we went through Pelinka, LeBron.
No, that's pretty. Listen, the bottom line
aspect. I mean, there's a lot of people that saying that the rotations from Frank Vogel, like you said, Barrick, that the rotations wasn't really that good. And I listened to Colin Cowherd earlier, and he compared the Lakers to a bad restaurant, and I somewhat agree with him, but I think it's more like a startup restaurant where you just don't know your clientele there.
By the way, Terry Stotts just left the Blazers as a head coach.
Oh yeah, that's not a surprise. No, it's long overdue. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the situation. But that's the situation with this Lakers team. There's a lot to go around, but we have different insights on it. But I always like to start from the head of the snake, and from on down, from Jeannie Buss on down, because the players have a lot of influence. We talked about that in previous shows, how much power that these players have in this particular sport individually, and these players do have individual influence on other players. But at the end of the day, you can't let certain players leave town knowing that they were more of an asset and help to what you did last year in the bubble. And these very same players are helping other teams. You just can't do that. That's not smart, in my opinion. And then you knew that this was hinging on the responsibility of two of your star players being healthy all year long. You knew that was going to be a hard thing. You were praying on that. That's not the way you run a team. You got to support those guys the best way you can. The way they did it, and I'll say it 1,000 times, I'll say it one more time before the show concludes. If that team was healthy from start to finish, all the way through, which is impossible with the team they formed, they would have made it to the finals. But no, health obviously derailed them. And you have to think about that next year, because like I said, Phoenix is getting better. Utah is getting better. Dallas is getting better. Okay, the Western Conference is getting stronger. Oh, and I don't see Philly and Brooklyn and Miami getting any worse. You're gonna have 8 to 9 teams.
What came out a couple of minutes ago? You said Magic Johnson was actually trashing Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that real quick. We're gonna make it real quick because we got 20-some minutes on this. Magic Johnson basically said that he wants Dennis Schroeder gone. He doesn't think he's a Laker. Basically on that whole thing right there, just to break it down, he's basically saying that Dennis Schroeder's attitude wasn't there. Dennis Schroeder's work ethic wasn't there. He being a Laker for all time. This is the way the Laker Foundation was when you had Jabbar, when you had Worthy, when you had AJ Green, when you had Dennis Scott. Byron Scott. When you had the whole Kobe, we're talking about a large amount of Lakers that had that work ethic, that had that killer instinct. That's why that franchise has gotten 16 world championships, because this is what they do best. You can't bring a guy like Dennis Schroeder over there who doesn't have the Laker mentality and expect him to play well. That's what Magic Johnson meant.
No, I think he didn't get the touches in a sense, though. I mean, he wanted to go out there. He wants to make a big contract, and when you play with LeBron James, he's going to really be, he's essentially the point guard of that team. Yeah. And Dennis Schroeder is not going to get those touches like he will want to, so he can actually go out there and make money. And that's really more probably the problem right there, man.
And before we say it over, I want to make sure we say this real quick. This came from Magic Johnson. He said Rob Pelinka has a lot of work to do this summer because the Lakers did not perform well during the series against Phoenix. You make it very clear.
I would get rid of every single person besides Contavious Caldwell-Pope, even Anthony Davis. Davis, yes.
I don't see those two guys going. I don't see LeBron AD going. But the rest of the team,
even get that. We was Barrick and I in our pregame prep talking about Anthony Davis and his. I mean, listen, you got to push buttons with this guy over here to get him to perform. He has a legitimate injury, and you had. I mean, it took Charles Barkley clowning him for him to actually go out there and even try to push it. Now, if you have a legitimate injury, pain is different, but a legitimate injury, you shouldn't be out there. I don't care what game it is, what the scenario is. You should not be out there. But I mean, a lot of times with Anthony Davis, you got to push his buttons, and that's not a superstar to me in a sense. That's a really good player, but he's not a 2. He's a number 3.
Okay, we're gonna see what happens with them next year moving forward.
We're gonna
see what happens. Listen, is LeBron too old and is AD too frail? We're gonna find about that next year.
We gotta push buttons to get him to go, man.
So that's the way to go. All right, guys.
All right, we're gonna wrap this video up over here. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Certainly share this video.
That's right.
Share, the universe certainly shares back with you. Peace.
Absolutely. Peace.